The Monkey Mind Podcast, your number one platform for athletes and mental health. Hosted by Danny Perez and Anthony Florentino.
This is episode 70 featuring Steve Weinstein. Steve is a former professional hockey player in both the American Hockey League and East Coast Hockey League. He also played 4 years of Division I college hockey at Bentley University. But before we get into today's episode, we have a quick word from our sponsor. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Daily Dose CBD Inc. Daily Dose CBD Inc. creates full-spectrum CBD products ranging from tinctures, balms, and dog treats. Research has shown that CBD has successful results in aiding in the following areas: anti-inflammation, anxiety, PTSD, help with breaking addiction, neuroprotection, epilepsy, arthritis, chronic pain, and sleeping disorders. Daily Dose makes an extremely safe and effective product that we know you will love, enjoy, and benefit from. Daily Dose has given Monkey Mind listeners 15% off all their orders. Head over to dailydosecbdinc.com and use promo code MonkeyMind15 for 15% off your purchases. That's promo code MonkeyMind15 for 15% off all your orders at dailydosecbdinc.com. All right. We got Steve Weinstein on today. If you hear me call him Chewy, that's just his nickname, so I might be dropping that a bit. But yeah, welcome on, man. Happy to have you on here.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man.
Of course. Yeah, if you can just introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, sport you played, and talk about your journey through hockey.
So Steve Weinstein, grew up in California playing youth hockey, primarily with the Wave, AAA, double A, AAA, all that. And then went to juniors in British Columbia, played for the Vernon Vipers for 3 years. Had a blast there, a couple RBC championships, and then got recruited to play at Bentley University out in Waltham, Mass for 4 years. 21-year-old freshman, you know how it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Taking the scenic route, sometimes not by choice.
Yeah, exactly. Called my dad about a month in. I can't do it. I'm going back to juniors. Oh, this is school shit. Yeah. So anyways, did that and then graduated in 2015. And right out of college, signed an ATO with Springfield, which was Columbus's AHL team. Had a quick cup of coffee up there. And then the next 2 years would be 15, 16 and 16, 17. I started both in the Cheese. The first year with Cincinnati. And then I got called up, or I guess not called up. I signed a PTO with Cleveland, which was the same team as Springfield from last year, still Columbus's AHL team, and got sent back down. And then in the summer, I got dealt to South Carolina. Could have been worse.
Yeah, right.
And so played there and got called up to Hershey for about a month and a half and then sent back down. We made it to the Kelly Cup finals and lost there, and then decided to hang them up. So, yeah. The Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, obviously I know, but for everybody listening, kind of what are you up to these days? Still involved in hockey, obviously, right?
Yeah. So I coach, obviously I have a, 9-to-5 finance job. Very exciting. But also been, also still coaching at Chelsea Piers, the New York City Cyclones, is a tier 2 program. So been there. This will be my upcoming year will be my 5th year. So
nice.
Really enjoy that, being involved with the game with the young kids. So
yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Obviously podcast about athletes and mental health. So if you, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, kind of talk about your experience with, mental health and hockey and mental health, and just kind of, you have the floor to lead the way there.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I thought a lot about it. I think that I wouldn't say mental health, but something really changed, or just noticed the difference in hockey when I got to pro, right? Like juniors was awesome. We were winning all the time, had a ton of fun. College, we had a ton of fun, didn't win as much, but you had your boys, and then you kind of realize when you get to pro that it's not so much of a team. It's right. Everybody's kind of looking out for yourselves. I still have a lot of great relationships from playing in the primarily in the ECHL, like good buddies, guys that got it. I mean, you're there to, obviously work hard and win and have fun. But, some guys that, they don't want to talk to you. It's like, you're just another guy. Like, you're not even a teammate. You're just like, somebody who you're trying to get the puck from. So
Yeah.
it's when I really notice it. And then, especially in the AHL too, like I said, in the cheese, like for the most part, good guys, but in the A, it's like, oh, like no one is going to give you the time of day, especially as a call up.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, well, guess I'll, hang out at the hotels. See you guys at the rink tomorrow.
Yeah, dude, I know how that is. I mean, I remember I got called to Greenville, and like I was like the 30th college guy that came in. They were in the basement. So I mean, it was just like I mean, I get it though. Like, who's another kid who's coming in for 5 games, whatever it is. So but yeah, the dynamics definitely do change. And it's like a very weird feeling to kind of experience that. And, it's definitely an adjustment, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you just kind of, why is this guy not talking to me? And then after a while, you're just like, all right, well, yeah, I'm going to start hanging out with the guys I want to hang out with. Very cliquey.
Yeah. No, and how did you find that, what was your adjustment process to that, and kind of like your mindset and in adjusting to that? Kind of, it's a little bit, some guys don't really know that's how the dynamic changes. So it kind of catches a lot of guys off guard, especially when you come from a close college team. So, how did you adjust to that dynamic, and, what'd you do to, figure that stuff out?
I mean, just like you said, kind of realizing that it's not so much of a team. And I mean, I guess it kind of got in the way of me enjoying and wanting to be at the rink, right? I mean, I grew up I love hockey. I'm an addict now, like follow it all the time, love being at the rink with the boys, with the kids. But especially my first year in Cincy, it's just like, oh fuck, like maybe I'm not gonna come here and hang out earlier and, play ping pong and shoot the shit. Maybe I'm going to go get my work done, go to the gym, get my work in there, and then just kind of, see if anyone wants to see, who wants to hang out later. Right. Like it's, I can honestly say the first year, I definitely didn't have a ton of buddies, be friendly with all the guys, but, I wouldn't say I talked to many of them or, had a plan to talk to many of them now, which is, it's just unfortunate, but I guess it's kind of, the nature of the game. You just kind of realize it, especially in those lower leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're literally walking on eggshells. You can get released at any point if you're on a cheese contract, right?
Yeah.
So it took some time, right? But, and I guess it kind of took away a little bit of my love for the game, but, it's part of it. It's not all glamour.
Yeah, no, exactly. Did you find that affected your play on the ice? Were you able to find yourself adjusting, like, hey, this is what it is. This is what I got to do. And this is just kind of how it's going to be. Or, did it take some time to get to the point where you were getting in that mindset? And how would you say that affected your play on the ice?
To be honest, I think they were kind of, I don't know if mutually exclusive is the right term, but I noticed in the way that the coaches treated you and in terms of playing wise is also adjustment, right? Like you're in college or juniors, it's like your coach, like you're your guy, right? They're all, trying to get to the same point of winning, league championship, national championship, blah, blah, blah. For pro, like coach, like no coach in the cheese wants to stay there, right? He's just trying to get wins and he's trying to put out whoever is going to get him wins. And he's not worried so much about your development, right? It's like my coach in Cincy, like, I had a little bit of a heater at the start, putting up some points as a smaller, offensive defenseman. He loved me, right? And then, go through a dry spell, and it's just like doesn't even look at you, whatever. And it's like, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that I don't know if a lot of guys in college are prepared for. Because I think in college they're more willing to kind of nurture and help you along the way and kind of bring you along. But in pro, I don't think that's there. Which, I mean, it's a business; it makes sense. But I know it's funny. Like you could tell someone like till you're blue in the face in college and junior, like, hey, it's different at the next level. It's different at the next level. But going there and experiencing it firsthand is like kind of catches you off guard. And I know it was an adjustment for me, just kind of realizing those things. So, And I was even told it too, like, hey, it's different at the next level. But I just came from places, always where they work with you and kind of bring you along and give you opportunities to kind of like work through different adjustment periods,
Yeah, I mean, you think about in college, like most likely you're there for 4 years, right? And you're trying to, obviously get better, right? And pro, you could have one game, like you have one chance to be, and then you could be like, oh well, didn't do your job. Fucking smell you later. So
yeah, that's a lot to adjust with. But how did you guys have a sports psych at Bentley or in any of the teams you play with in pro?
no, shit, I don't think so. And even if I did, I don't think I would have used them. I think it was just kind of, well, I wouldn't say hard-headed, but I don't really, now I kind of see things differently. But back then, mental health was not really was not a big part or even something I would even acknowledge. So,
yeah. Yeah, no, it's obviously it's good being talked about more. And talk about your transition in hockey from, just playing your whole life and then the adjustment to, it being over. And obviously you're still involved in the game and it's great, but I'm sure it's different. And working a big boy job.
Yeah, no, that was definitely tough. So it was in 2017. We went to the Kelly Cup Finals. We got swept. It's closer than the box score showed, but we got swept. And I had gone through a concussion. We'll go back a little bit. I'd gone through a concussion, missed the last month of the year, and then came back for playoffs. And was in and out of the lineup in playoffs, which was frustrating. But at the same time, it's like, you're not going to bitch about it. Like at that point, you have your boys, like South Carolina, like we're trying to win. We're trying to win a Kelly Cup. So I wasn't going to complain. I was frustrated, but you had to be professional about it, because eventually I got back in due to an injury and played well. Like I was pretty happy with how I played throughout that entire playoff. I mean, in terms of defensemen for points on our team, I was tied for the lead with another guy, and I played 10 less games, right? So I knew, I was the smallest defenseman. Like the next smallest defenseman was like 6'2". So I knew what I had to do, right? And some would say I'm a defensive liability. Probably, maybe, but fuck, can't have six guys just cross-checking people in front of the net.
Yeah.
But anyways, cut to, so we lost in the final, and a good buddy of mine, Corey Kane, plays on Kunlun in China. And he's like, Chewy, like, we might be have a spot open for you, blah, 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 or even start in the second league and work your way up. Camp starts in July. And I'm like, it's June.
Yeah.
Like, so much for training or whatever. And my head still wasn't right. And, it was like, I had to make that decision if I wanted to go there or not, and didn't end up doing that. Look back, maybe I could have, but who knows? I knew I didn't want to go back to the cheese, just because one, I was still a little rattled at how I was treated. I mean, I liked the coach, but I was, a little rattled. So they wanted to bring me back. I was like, I'm not coming back. I don't know if I'm playing again. And then you think about it, you're playing in the cheese, you're making like $500 a week pre-tax. So, I mean, it was just kind of like a snowball effect of like, oh man, I guess should start my life 27 years old, or going to be 27 years old. I should start my life. And then like with the concussion issues. And then that was the first time, because in the summer I knew, like, I was never like the fittest guy on our team, but I love training and working out and blah, blah, blah. I didn't worry about lifting a bunch of weight, but I wanted to get better. And that was the first summer where it was like, holy shit, like I don't have the urge to work out anymore. Mm-hmm. So that was another sign. So getting into that, when I realized that, I was like, oh man, I got to start my life. I was, I don't know, that was tough too. Because once I accepted that hockey was over, then I think it was worse. It's like, oh shit, I got to be a real person and do real shit. Yeah. And I had no idea what to do. I mean, in college, like I went to school, but I wasn't really,
Yeah.
And I look back on what I do now, or looking back, like what I do now, like I didn't learn anything from college, right? It's all like the relationships you make. I moved out here in I think like the late summer, the fall of 2017. Had no idea what was going on. Started getting LinkedIn, didn't know what to do with it.
Yep.
Went to career fairs. What a fucking joke those were. And and I was just struggling, right? I started doing like delivering like Postmates and all that shit.
Yeah, of course.
Just to pass the time.
Been there.
Get, some money, which would pay for one meal in the city.
Yep.
But it was tough. Yeah, like I said, like as much as it was tough to realize, like I'm not going to play competitively anymore. I felt like it was even worse being like, oh, now I have to actually start my whole life at 26 or 27. And just was lucky enough that started coaching, and that's kind of how, you make connections at the rink, and then it just kind of snowballs from there. So, I mean, hockey, it's just kind of a no-brainer how that works, right?
Yeah, no, I know. And that's that transition period's tough, and I don't care what anyone says, you can't really prepare anyone for that. And just going back to like some previous points you made about just, different things with playing and all that stuff, everything in hockey, no matter what level you're at, feels so monumental. At the end of the day, one thing, it's like I've been giving lessons and stuff and trying to be lighthearted on the ice. And when guys get hard on themselves, I'm sure, as like you mess up, it's going to happen. Guys are going to be hard on themselves. It's like, dude, hey, this is the time to mess up, first of all. And second of all, it's hockey. Let's relax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's like, there's so much of a stress on all of us that we put in ourselves, and like from exterior pressures, and it can debilitate you more than it. I mean, obviously it's all about perspective, but it comes to a point where it's like you're applying a lot of pressure on yourself. Like, relax. And that's one thing I try and reiterate. And then the transitionary piece, it's super tough, man. Like going through that, it's just like such a lost feeling, and realizing that you've been playing hockey your whole life, and no matter, whether you're the type of person who's like, oh, it's going to come to an end, or like you're just, I want to play in the NHL and that's going to be it. Like, and it does, but regardless, it's going to come to an end. So no matter which guy you are, it's still going to hit just as hard.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. You make a good point. Somebody talked about where it's like you put so much pressure on yourself, and looking back, like, we both played, you played at Maine, played at Bentley, we played D1. Like, how many guys make it there? We both have, some time in the cheese. How many guys make it there? But when you're going through it, it's like, oh my God, like how am I going to make it to the next level? Mm-hmm. Right. It's such, it kind of takes away from your enjoyment, and you realize that some of that external pressure, that's not what you enjoy about the game. You obviously enjoy playing, but you enjoy just being with the boys too.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, that's a huge thing. And I think coaching helps that as well, shooting the shit. I mean, there are 15 and 16-year-olds, but they're old enough to get some of the shit.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's the thing too, is like for me, I was always just worried about like the next level. Like, what do I gotta do to get to the next level? And yeah. I hope I get there. Like, I hope I'm doing enough. And I look back and I reflect, and I'm just like, dude, you forgot to have fun. Like, you forgot to enjoy the ride, because I mean, you get so fixated on getting to where you want to go that, and it's not all the time. You obviously have moments where you do enjoy it, but I think that's why we talked about it so many times, as having like mental skills performance coaches, sports psychologists, clinical therapists. It's like the one thing that they constantly reiterate is just, you set your goal and then forget about it. And then you just worry about the process of getting there, and you just enjoy the process and enjoy the growth within that. And, taking the big goal and, taking the steps you need to get there and breaking them down. And then from there, you can get into that flow state and fall in love with the process of it, and just be more present with where you're at. Because at the end of the day, when it does end, you look back and you're like, went by like this. It just feels like it never happened, in a sense. So that's why I try and reiterate to you guys, it's important to enjoy the process and still have that goal in mind, but don't forget that you're still playing a game, and you're supposed to enjoy it while you can.
Yeah. I mean, like, tell our kids that too. It's like the most basic goal is like, did I get better? Right. And it's not always going to be straight, but it keeps going and going. And eventually where you started and where you ended, it should be higher.
Yeah, no, exactly. So now I want you to talk about that from a coaching perspective. You obviously harped on it a little bit just now, but what are some of the things that you kind of take away from your playing career that you talk to these players about? And then just kind of general stuff, like what's kind of your coaching philosophy and just kind of the things that you always preach to your players, aside from X's and O's, obviously, just kind of like perspective and mentality sort of things.
Just main thing is competing, right? Like we work with a lot of kids. Pretty much most of the kids are from New York City, right? They're fucking spoon fed, right? So when they have a little adversity, they kind of fold. So we want to preach embracing that adversity and don't just shy away from challenges, right? Don't shy away from working hard. A lot of these kids have everything fucking handed to them, and at some point it won't get handed to them anymore. So they have to learn how to do that and just embrace kind of the adversity. I mean, I definitely when as a group, I shit on the kids a lot, right? But they know that it's trying to make them better. When we have one-on-one meetings, that's kind of where I not so much baby them, but talk to them and kind of get an understanding of what they're thinking and how I expect them to be better and how I expect them to get better. So I mean, yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think one of the takeaways I took away from, or one thing I took away from my coach in South Carolina, Wars, I think he's in Chicago now with the AHL, is every time we do a bagger, he would do one with us, right? And that, as much as I wouldn't say I hated him, disagreed with him at times. I mean, it showed me and showed everybody a lot. It's like, holy fuck, like this guy's in the fight with us. Like he's not, even though he's not playing, he's in it with us. And there's no other way, like, that's the most that he could do to prove is like, oh fuck, like it's not us versus him. He's with us. And that's what I do with our kids too. Every bagger, I jump in. I mean, I fucking blow the doors off them because but
you're going game 7 too, I know.
Yeah, oh good. Oh yeah. Trust me, I'm going game 7. Fuck. But they get it, right? And I talked to a few kids and we've had a couple, I think we had, we're good for one practice a year where it's just like battle drills, bagger, battle drills, bagger, battle drills, bagger. And, I went out to our captain because we had a shit weekend. And I was like, you think I fucking want to be doing this with you guys? Right? You think I want to make you guys skate? You think I want to skate right now? And he's like, yeah, I get it. Right. So I think that goes a long way, and just letting them know, like, you got to be hard on them because they don't receive that as much as they should. But as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, I think that's the main, the main goal.
Yeah, no, exactly. And going off your point about like the adversity and kind of, players being spoon fed, which just kind of like piggybacking off like the adversity piece of that. I think a lot of times you often think as people and as players, like there's going to become a point where you reach that level that you want, right? And then it's like there's an aha moment, and it's like the adversity just goes away. Like, no, it's always there. So it's just kind of being able to run through that and understand that at every level that you go to and at any stage of life, there's always going to be adversity at every point. But from that, you have to shift your perspective and understand that through this adversity and through the suck is where the most growth happens.
For sure. You have to learn from it.
Exactly. And those are where the challenges are. And I think if you can kind of constantly tell your players and people that you care about and want to succeed that, hey, like there's always going to be shitty times and there's always going to be times where you're severely challenged, that's good. And you got to see that as an opportunity to grow. And there's a learning lesson in that, and that you learn more from the losses and you learn more from the, I guess, quote unquote, beat downs than you do from like the major successes and those, I guess, aha moments in a sense where, oh, I finally did it. Well, okay, we'll learn from what got you there and translate it to the next portion of whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you're spot on, right? Like like you say, you don't lose, you learn, right? And if you don't want any adversity, go win the lotto.
Yeah. No, that's a good quote. You don't lose, you learn. I love that.
So yeah, I mean, if you don't want adversity, win the lotto and go to an island and they'll never see you again. So.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Then you'll really be left alone. Yeah, right. But that's a whole nother world of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love all that, man. That's awesome. If there was one thing that you would tell younger Chewy looking back with all this perspective and maturity, what's that one thing you'd be, or just one piece of advice that you have for, players up and coming at any ranks, whether it be youth, junior, college, or pro, or even someone transitioning into civilian life, I guess you could say. Just kind of, yeah, what would that be?
Well, there's a lot of.
Yeah, I gave you a lot there, but if you can break
Yeah.
it, I don't know.
Yeah, let me just see. What is it in Anchorman? Oh, I'm not prepared. And he pulls out the big fucking, or he pulls out the jazz flute. Oh, I'm totally not prepared for this. I don't know.
We'll start off with like what you would tell to your younger self. We'll start off with that.
Like youth hockey.
Anytime, like sometime where you were just kind of like, maybe were really hard on yourself or down, and then you're like, hey, like, see this, just like a piece of advice,
Yeah, I think in terms
life
of
for hockey. Yeah.
Oh, well, I got nothing for you for life. But in terms of youth, I was pretty good. I was really good at like 9, 10, 11. And then, I kind of hit puberty late, and all these kids started passing me up, and they were all, quote unquote, young men. And I was still, 80 pounds, blah, blah, blah. And I just couldn't compete. Like I wasn't fast enough, wasn't big enough, blah, blah, blah. And it was tough, right? Like that's, you can call that adversity in terms of just like, oh man, like all these kids, like how am I going to be as good as them? They're all men. They're all blowing by me. They're all like burying me. And then my old man, he held me back to AA. So I played 3 years of AA, and, just kind of, had more touches, blah, blah, blah. And then by the time I went back to AAA, it was like everything had leveled back. Yeah. I kind of got back to that level that I was when I was younger, and had that confidence. So, I mean, in terms of like, as a young player, it doesn't really matter, are you the best at 12? Are you the best at 13? Are you the best at 14? Because, to be honest, like the last year is all that matters, right? I mean, same with you, like your last year midgets, that's where you're going to go play juniors. Your last year juniors, that's where you're going to go play college, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it is all like developing. But, if you're not the best at a certain level, that doesn't mean you're, not going to make it out to anything. I mean, those select festivals, like, was it 15 or what do they start at 14 or something to 17?
Like, yeah. It's like, what is it? First year Pee-wees, second year Pee-wees? Maybe?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't do any of those. And then my last year, I think I was like an alternate to make it to the regionals. So I made it to the regionals, didn't make it to the nationals, and, probably, I'm assuming, had a better career than some of the other guys there. I'm I don't know exactly how it is, but there's definitely some guys that are still playing and have had, really good careers, but there's other guys that are washed up. So it doesn't really matter where you are at a certain point. It's kind of, following that journey and just keep, working hard, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's spot on. I think you see that a lot, but people, parents specifically, I think obviously players, but you want your player to play at AAA. You want to be at the top, but it's like, okay, well, you're gonna go play AAA, but you're gonna be a fourth liner. You're not gonna play.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, go where you're wanted. 1 and 2. If you need, like, it's an ego check, but if you need to go back to AA, oh my God, scary. But like, if you need to, it's gonna be better for your development in the long run. And you see it worked for you, and you did it for 3 years. And like you said, it got you the touches, got you the confidence, and then when everything leveled off, you were ready to make that next step again.
Yeah.
I think that's just so important. I think you got to do what's best for you. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's path is different. So, that was smart of your old man to do that, and recognize, hey, you're going to get more opportunity to play and develop and get better at this level.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never say it to your face.
No, of course not.
Yeah, I never give them the satisfaction of that.
No, of course not. No, that's awesome, man. I think a lot of really good stuff that you talked about here, and no, that's great, and I appreciate you coming on and telling your story and being vulnerable to talk about all this stuff. I know it's going to help out a lot of players at many different stages. We kind of hit on all of them.
Yeah, for sure. No, thanks for having me. It's fun shooting the shit. I'm not sweating at all.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that why you wore dark and didn't wear gray?
No, I put on like a workout shirt, and I had a workout shirt on all day, and I was like, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah. Keep it on. Start really leaking through. I just got to work out, and that's why.
Yeah, exactly. The old sauna.
Yeah, but thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man.